Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the 23rd Argos Community Call. Today we have Eli Papadopoulou from OpenAir, who is Product Manager of Argos, and Diamantis Georgios from Site, who is leading the development team. They will cover the technical aspects of Argos, including how to access the software, ways to contribute, and additional configuration options beyond Zenodo. During the presentation, we kindly ask that you keep your microphones muted and your cameras off. For the Q&A session, feel free to unmute and turn your camera on if you'd like to actively participate. You can also submit your questions either in the chat or in our shared document, in our shared Google document, which will be posted in the chat. And also please note that this session is being recorded and transcribed. If you wish to participate in the Q&A but prefer not to be included in the recording, please let us know in the chat and we'll ensure that we'll edit out your contribution. So Eileen Yamadi, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Marily. And hi, everyone. Another Argos community call. And finally, I don't know if you've received it, we have a new release out and we're very happy to be sharing it with everyone. Whatever we have been doing in the past, some of you that have participated in previous community calls are already aware. But let me also share the news item so that you check in your own time the new things here in the chat. And we're very happy because apart from the new features or the improvements in the workflows and the performance of Argos, we also now moved to GitHub, which was requested a lot, so that previously we were in a different code repository, an open source repository, Git, but now we moved to GitHub to make our collaboration even better, to be able to fork the repository, to be able to add issues and let us know if there's a bug or a feature that you would like to suggest and all these things. With that being said, I would also like, I know we're talking about Argos, which is the service of OpenAir, but this I would like to make this distinction between Argos and OpenCDMP, which is the software that is deployed at OpenAir and with specific configuration and runs as the service for OpenAir. So there are two different things. The software can do more things, so supports more configurations, more customizations than what you see in Argos. And now I think Diamantis can show us a few things. By the way, I would like to thank you if you have participated in the survey, the mini survey that we ran earlier this semester, because this really helped us to identify some things that you would like to see and we would need to work on. Hence why today we're focusing on the some technical things, because there are questions, as we see, that we need to answer. So Diamantis, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Diamantis Georgios from Site. I'm coordinating the development effort on OpenCDMP software. As Eli said, it's the software that runs underneath the Argos service. So let me first do a quick introduction regarding what is OpenCDMP and how this software is associated with OpenDMP, which was the software that was running that was supporting Argos in its previous version. So OpenDMP was a software that was designed some years ago. I think it was like 7 or 8 years ago when we started this effort to create a tool for data management plans and how this can be created dynamically and be machine actionable with the efforts from RDA, etc. And all these years, we were keep implementing this and evolving OpenDMP to support multiple installations with the biggest and, let's say, main installation of the instance of the software being Argos. The past few years, there were a lot of effort and, let's say, interest in the area of data management plans or in general research output plans. So we were thinking of evolving the software to support different kinds of needs based on the experience we've gathered all these years, and also invest some effort to address some of the issues or limitations, if you want, that we discovered all these years. So that led to a major redesign of our tool, also a rename of the tool. So from OpenDMP, now the tool is called OpenCDMP, as Ellie said. C is for compliance. It's not something that we right now that we enforce, but we see that the community has an interest on that field also. So, okay, we declare a plan, we have a plan, we manage the outputs by having a plan, but the next step is how we can validate all the input that is there. And so looking towards the future, we added that also to the naming and to the platform. So let me share my screen and talk a little bit about the new platform and some technical aspects of it.
Thanks, Dimitris.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So in the technical aspect, lots of changes happened the past year in our platform. So we already had a modular architecture. So the old software was like 3-4 services, but we wanted to make it a little bit more flexible, a little bit more modular, and so we designed the whole thing to be more flexible. We split it kind of functionalities and we generalized them in order to make them pluggable and meet every installation's needs to a bigger degree. We added lots of plugin mechanisms because one of the main needs that the community had was to be able to configure things differently. So each installation to have different functionality in terms of the external communication. So we wanted to fetch different things. We wanted to deposit different things to different services. We wanted to export different things, etc. So we designed some plugin mechanisms there to give that kind of flexibility. A lot of new features like new roles, fine-grained access control, etc., reviews, comments on questions, notifications, fine-grained notifications we already had, or email notifications, but this evolved to in-app notifications, email notifications, different kind of notifications, notification preference for the user, where how and when should I get notified, etc. Also, we did some work under the hood in order to make things more efficient. So we changed the business logic of the platform in order we refactored or rewrote some parts of it to make it more efficient, decrease the response times on the platform. And last but not least, we changed the authentication mechanism of the platform, and now we're using Keycloak as a single point of authentication for all services and integrations happening in the software. So currently, the system architecture looks something like the diagram you can see here. So we have users using our platform, all of them authenticated through a Keycloak, and then we have multiple services behind reverse proxy where all of our functionalities are served. So we have some main APIs. We have APIs for annotations, comments, etc., for notifications. The web client that is being used by the users, and then we have multiple plugins that can be replaced. And for data persistency, this isn't changed from the past. We're still using PostgreSQL and Elasticsearch. That's pretty much the high level technical architecture of the software. Now, as Ellie said, I won't go into more details, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you have after this short presentation. As Ellie said, the whole project now is moved to GitHub, so we have a new OpenCDMP organization here where we have all our repositories and everything is open source licensed under EUPL 1.2. This is the main page of the organization, and here these are the repositories that we have right now. As I said, it's a microservice architecture. There are lots of services completely independent. So different repositories here. For example, we have the main repository of the main modules of the project, and then we have various plugins like the exports, the docx and PDF exports that we have, the RDA exports, some plugins for depositing to Zenodo, etc. We're also working on some docs that we will publish the following weeks. And this site is actually the docs page that we will publish probably early 2025. We try to document everything as much as we can in order to help someone that wants to either use the software on its own installation or configure something in the existing installations that we have. Now,
maybe
yes,
if I can, Diamantis, just to say that we are following basically like the policy that Dataverse, for example, has. Like, we have this software, it's open source, but we encourage not to, if you are deploying it, not to customize it a bit, because we are losing the compatibility with the software, right? Diamantis?
Yes, yes. So right now we build the software and we publish it as Docker containers to Docker Hub. Since it's a generic software, there are plenty of configuration options. So imagine that the image of OpenCDMP that is on Docker registry is the exact same image that is used for Argos installation, but it's configured differently. So we already have tons of configurations where you can align the features and the functionality of the tool based on your needs. We're trying to document all this in order uh, to help the community use it by using the configuration options that already exist and avoid editing, forking the project and editing the code, because in that case, they won't be able to get updates that we implement. So that's the approach that we have. Since it's a generic software, it's if a feature is requested, then we at the product level, we see how this can be fit in a generic way to the base software, and then if it aligns with also the roadmap of the tool, we implement it in a way that can be reused. So we don't have custom implementations in the core project. We have custom implementations in a plugin way, so you can implement and use plugins with your own implementations of specific things like exports, depositions, talking to other repositories, etc. As Eli said also in the beginning, we have an issues page here in GitHub where we can add where we encourage the community to report issues that they have on the software, and we will do our best to support them. I don't know if there are any questions on the. Should we do them now, Ellie, or in the end?
Let's yes. If there are questions, we can have them now.
On the technical side.
If there's anything you want to ask, now it's your chance. Diamantis is not always with us in the calls. But
So,
if not, then maybe Diamantis, we can show a few things that were identified in the survey. So, for example, the repository plugin, there are people that want to know how to have different repositories to deposit at the end.
So for how the plugin mechanism work in OpenCDMP. First of all, we wanted to make it easy for someone to create a plugin. So in order to do that, we said that we will create a library. Right now, it's only for Java. It's a Java. It's a Maven package that someone could include and guide him and help him in order to develop a deposit plugin. So the repository for this library is this one, is a deposit base repository, and this package is published to the Maven Central the Maven Central repository. So for every one of you that are familiar with Java development, I guess you've used Maven, so it's a package that you can include in your project. This package helps you to implement an interface. This is the interface that you need to implement, and you implement these functions, and then here you put your custom code to deposit the plans in your custom repository. So that's pretty much. There is documentation here, but we will extend it a little bit more to the docs project that I mentioned before. So we use that kind. Yes, Ellie.
Please go ahead. Sorry.
No, okay. So we used that that package to create the Zenodo plugin, for example. So we created a new project, we imported that package, and we implemented these functions to communicate with Zenodo. So since this repository is open source, someone could have a look here and see the implementation of this service and maybe have a first idea of how a new custom plugin can be implemented for depositing things to a different repository than Zenodo.
And in Argos, can you remind us, please, what we support? Because if you are a tenant now with a multi-tenancy, if you have a tenant in argos.open.eu, then you can also configure another repository. And for the moment, we support DSpace, in Vimeo, Sican, and Dataverse, right?
Yes, but with some limitations on the versions. So there are lots of different versions of these repositories. So if we need to integrate a new repository to Argos, then someone needs to talk with the administration team of Argos and have the specific details of the report needs to be integrated, and then we will discover options if something is not supported, because all of these softwares have a long story and multiple versions, and usually when organizations use have a deployed instance of that software, we've seen that they are stuck with a previous or an old version, so some of them might not be supported. But at any case, we have a base support for all these repository software that Ellie mentioned, and we're open to expand the support further if we have the effort, and it not requires a lot of effort to do so. The same mechanism is used for export plugins. So again, we have a package that helps someone create custom exports and imports. We call them file transformers. So there is also a file transformer base package that is pushed to Maven Central, and we have used that to create plugins that comes by default with the software, and also these are available to Argos for docx and PDF exports and RDA JSON imports and exports. So Ellie, should we have a look at the
configuration of APIs, I would say.
Okay.
Because that's also another common question. Can I configure another API to use it for pre-filling and so on?
Okay, so let me also give some information regarding this topic. In our old tool, we had some configurations regarding the APIs that you can call. For example, we had a funders field in our plans, and you could configure some APIs to be used to fetch funders or grants, for example. This was a little bit let's say, a limitation of our previous platform, because either in some cases we wanted to use completely different APIs even within the same installation, and in some other cases we wanted to use completely different references, if we can call all of these connection external references. We wanted, for example, there was an organization that didn't want to select a funder to their plans because they might have a specific funder on all of their plans. So we did some model and schema changes to the tool core changes, where we remodeled the whole external references functionality. So in the new version in OpenCDMP, all these external references are dynamic. So you can configure what kind of external references you want a plan to have in your installation or in your tenant, let's say at the organization level. So for example, if you want a plan to have as external references the funders, the grants, the I don't know, the researchers, the licenses, or some other or some custom vocabularies, for example, and you have APIs for all these, you can input them in the tool and you can configure your plans to use them. So how we did that? We generalized the functionality. So we create something that is called reference types, where you defined the types of references, of external references you want to use in your plan. For example, if we see here in that installation, we have formats, metadata services, datasets, organizations, projects, researchers, services, taxonomies, journals, currencies, repositories, grants, licenses, etc. All these are dynamically created. So in another installation, if we deploy OpenCDMP somewhere else, we can delete all of that, all of these entries, and create new ones with the exact needs that we have. How do we configure them? Let's have a look, let's say, at the funders, for example. It's kind of technical, so I don't expect the non-technical audience to be able to feel comfortable with what I'll present now, but the bottom line is that all this is configurable through user interface, even if it's kind of technical. The idea is that you define the metadata of your reference. For example, if your funders in that installation if you want your funders to have, let's say, three fields, you can create here the fields and add the data type and the code in the description for each kind of field your funders will have. And then in the sources section, you can add sources where you would fetch these funders. Here we can see the configuration for fetching funders using OpenAir services. This is kind of technical because you have to define how this API will be called and then define how the response will be parsed, where you would find the results and what information you want to extract from these results. So we have some information here regarding where is the pagination path, so where is the list, because it's not for sure that the response would contain directly the list of the results. It might be enclosed in an object, etc., etc. Also, this is the results path. It's a J. This and these are J path, and then you have field mappings. So here you map JSON response path, JSON paths from the response to specific fields of the application. We also support authentication for this kind of request. And for authentication, we only support OAuth 2 protected endpoints. What else? Apart from having an external reference that is fetched from an API, you can also have static references. So if you have a static vocabulary, you don't have it in an API, but you want your users to be able to select it, you can create here a static source and just add the items you need here. And what would be the reference ID, the label, and the description of that item, and any other field that you might have. That's pretty much the external references functionality that we introduced in OpenCDMP tool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diamati. We have a question in your shared document, if we have some time now. The question is, will there be any possibility of support for a custom OpenCDMP installation?
You mean support someone to deploy it and maintain an installation? If I understood the question correctly.
Would the person who wrote the question wanted to say if Diamadis understood the question correctly?
Maybe
If
not.
you don't want to be in the
But
recording,
let
we
me.
can.
Yeah,
Okay.
but let me say that these are all available on Argos as well. So there are two different options if you want to customize and configure all these extra things. One is to have a tenant, so use, and maybe you can show us here, for example, one tenant Diamante, and how this looks like.
Yes.
Or you can create now, yeah, and you can create now a tenant. So you can
Yes.
show us.
Let me yes. Let me give a little more details. So we this is an open source project, so everything is in the GitHub repository, and we're doing our best to create some docs that would be useful for someone who wants to have a personal, let's say, instance of the software. Yes, we will be available in the issues section of GitHub to give support for any kinds of bugs that will be discovered, etc. But if we're talking about an organization that wants to use the software for creating, let's say, an institutional deployment for handling their plans, then there are two options. One is to have a dedicated installation where we cannot provide support because it would be require a lot of effort. So we cannot provide support as part of the open source software, but we already have some installations where organizations asked us to provide them support for having a dedicated installation of the open source software and also maintain it, etc., etc. So I would say we can provide like professional services on a cost. And the second option, where we encourage most of the cases to go, is to, as Ellie said, to use one of the existing deployments and request an isolated space in them. So, for example, an organization can contact with OpenAir and ask to have a dedicated space of Argos. So have a tenant inside the Argos tool. And the way this functionality is implemented, you can have all this kind of configuration I showed you, like different deposit options, different exports and import plugins. You can have different templates. You can have different languages or different content in your personalized or your institutional tenant. And using that option, I'm not sure about if it has a cost, or Ellie knows the details
Yes,
better
there
than
are.
me. But at any case, it's part of the Argos, and it's easier to have it. It's more configurable, more maintainable, and definitely more cost effective.
I have added in the chat some information from the catalog, that the different options that we offer Argos or the software.
I think custom installations are also listed there, correctly?
Yes, yes. Other questions? If not, maybe let me see what I had written. Where am I? Here. Okay. We talked about the API configurations, the repositories plugin, where to find information for the software, right? So we talked about that as well. These are the three, at least that I have had noted from the frequently asked questions from the survey. Is it something that you see from Diamante's presentation that you feel like meets your specific needs, or it could if it was changed a bit? Like, what are your thoughts? Everyone is too shy to talk.
Let me also add that soon, as I said before, we will also publish the docs, and I think some of the questions you might have will be answered by the information provided there. Probably we will send an announcement or something like that when everything is ready. Also in the docs, something that I forgot to mention before is that we have documentation regarding for developers, how you can integrate with the tool, the authentication flow, etc., and the APIs that we have in the documentation for the APIs is at Swagger, and how you can configure all this. So what you need to configure in your Keycloak, etc., etc. There are tons of information here, and we're trying to wrap it up and simplify some things and deploy it.
Yes, thanks, Diamantis. That would be very helpful. Anything else? Maybe not. Maybe, Diamantis, if we could just clarify, because we changed to Keycloak. We need to, as we write also in the news item, log in with the same email account that we were using before, right? Maybe if you can clarify this part. I mean, for Argos. We cannot hear you. You're muted.
Sorry, I was talking muted. This only affects Argos or any other existing instances. So since we completely changed the authentication mechanism, there is a new flow, a new workflow that migrates users from the old platform to the new platform for Argos. So in order to have access to your old plans, etc., you need to log in through a provider that has the same email that you used in the previous version of Argos. So this is not something that affects new installations or other installations, but for existing ones, it's the only way to make that kind of mapping, since the mechanism is rewritten and changed.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Or where you would need more clarification?
If there are not any other questions, maybe I can show some things from the administrative views of Argos, since these views are not accessible of OpenCDMP or Argos, because since these views are usually not accessible for the users of the platform, and you'll be able to see some things that can be configured through the tool, and you have in mind what you can request to be configured for your needs.
I think you can go ahead, Diamantis. Yes, that would be very helpful. We've already seen in previous community calls the templates and the blueprints. So if you can walk us through the rest.
Yes. So usually a regular user of the platform only sees these four pages. All the rest are pretty much admin pages that we have for different purposes. We already saw that you can configure reference types, specific reference types. We also have the same kind of functionality for prefilling sources. So let's say you want to create a plan, and in that plan you want to describe 3 data sets, and 2 of them are already in Zenodo or in any other repository. For us, this is a prefilling source. So it's a source, for example, Zenodo, where you can select an entry, and we can extract some metadata and use them to prefill fields of the plan that you're creating. This functionality was also static in the old tool. Right now it's dynamic, and you can configure here different kind of prefilling sources. For example, in this installation we have Zenodo and OpenAir, where you can select an entry from Zenodo or OpenAir and use it to prefill questions. I won't go into much technical details, but the idea is that you configure how the API is called, pretty much the same way as we saw in the reference types, and then you configure the fields of the response where these are mapped to the fields of the plan. So it's kind of administrative and technical, but you can configure different kind of sources. So if you have, let's say, an institutional repository where you deposit data sets, and you want this repository to be used as a prefilling source, you can request it. And if that repository has an API, maybe we're able to configure it. We have also usage limits. You can define here limitations on the usage of the platform, like how many plans can be created, etc. You also have some general configurations regarding your tenant or your installation. For example, you can change your theme. You can create a primary color, the color of your organization, let's say, and then we have a mechanism where a theme is created based on the color of your organization, and you can go here, if you see all these buttons, etc., changed, and the background too. And all this can also be overridden and changed to meet the exact needs of your organization. You can also add your organization's logo, so you can upload here a logo, and it will be displayed next to the installation's logo, next to Argos logo, or here it will be OpenCDMP, but in Argos it will be next to Argos's logo. And here is the section where you can register your deposit and file transformer plugins that are implemented. Uh, this is something that it's not available yet, but since we saw it here, let's give
Sneak peek.
a sneak peek of the upcoming functionality. So apart from the deposit and file transformer plugins, we will support in the future evaluator plugins. So you will have a way to create custom plugins that evaluate your plans. This will be the output of OS Trails project. Probably some of you are familiar of the work we're doing there regarding all DMP tools, including Argos and OpenCDMP. So it's a domain that we will work actively the following year, actually 2025 and 2026. We have some
Yes.
notification preferences here for I hope it won't betray me. Probably it will. Here, if it doesn't open, it's a list of all the notifications that you that are available in the platform, and you can select. Okay. If you get notified by mail or in app, and you can enable or disable any of the channels. Here.
And we can also create new notifications or no, Diamantis?
We can edit we can definitely edit
The message.
the templates, yes, of the notification. So if creating a new one, if by creating a new one you mean to change what is being sent, yes. If by creating a new notification you mean something completely new, let's say
Yes, a new
I
notification for another action than the ones
uh,
listed.
So in that case, the answer is it depends. We have a list of notifications that are supported, and you can configure them. If your needs are fulfilled using one of them, so yes, we can do it. If you want a completely new kind of thing, let's say you want, I don't know, if 10 concurrent users are logged in, send them an email to an admin. Pointless, but let's say someone has that kind of need. In that case, it needs to be implemented, so we don't have it. But the mechanism is flexible, and new kinds of notifications can be added. And something else that is new is workflows. So in the upcoming versions, we will also support workflows for the plans. So you will be able to define the statuses a plan has. So it's draft, then it can be under review, then it can be validated, I don't know, then it can be deposited. And you can create a flow where you define a workflow where you define the status transitions. So you define that for my organization, I want these 5 statuses for my plans, and I want the transitions to be from draft to under review, and then only specific viewers with their role, specific users with the role of reviewer can review them and transition them to the status validated, and then only users with their role, I don't know, plan owners can deposit it and transition to the status deposited. So these kinds of workflows will be added to the platform, and all these also can be implemented at the tenant level. So if you are an institution and you want to use Argos as an institution to have an isolated space, as we said before, inside Argos, we can configure custom workflows only for your tenant. And the rest of the pages are pretty much users, and you can configure roles, etc. And something else that we can mention is that all of the help content, for example, languages here, frequently asked questions, user guides here, about page, terms of service, etc., can be configured at the tenant level. So we have a page here where you can configure all the supportive material for your tenant only or for the whole installation. So you can configure the frequently asked questions, the about, the glossary, terms of service, user guide, your cookie policy, etc., etc.
Yes.
So, and this can be done for all the available languages that exist in the platform. So I can load the existing frequently asked questions and I can edit them, for example.
I really like this actually, this, and we had discussed it in the past because it's very good to link to guidelines and guides that we have in our own institution.
Mm-hmm.
But I
last
see
but
Tassos.
yes, sorry.
Okay, sorry, there's a hand from that.
Okay, last but not least, since it's a new feature that we have, we also support comments. And I don't know if Ellie, you have already.
Yes, we have.
Okay.
But
You've
since you're here, you can quickly show it. Yeah, but let's
so
revisit it.
yes, at any field of the plan or at any field of the descriptions, you can add a comment, and these are created in a thread-like way. I'm not sure if this is working in my test installation here, but let's give it a try. Yes, it works. And you can also create a threads where someone can reply to one of your comments, etc., etc. And these comments can be visible or private. Private comments would be like notes for yourself only. Ellie, you said there is a question?
Thank you, Diamantis. Yes, Tassos has his hand raised.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Going back to the evaluator, because you already unveiled the forthcoming release, I just want you to a bit explain more about what will be the difference between what the evaluator is going to offer comparing to a fair evaluator.
So the honest answer here is that probably Ellie is better to reply to that question.
Let me reply then.
But let me only reply for the technical part. So regarding from the aspect of the software, you can configure any kind of evaluator you want. So we have created a plugin mechanism where you can have your own evaluators. The software doesn't need to know what these evaluators are and what kind of evaluation do. So we have a semantics way in order to take information regarding the ranking, etc., etc. But if it's a fair evaluator, or if it's I don't know, machine actional RDA, machine actional DMP compliance evaluator, or if it's something else, Zenodo evaluator that evaluates that you have everything that the Zenodo requires in order to deposit it. For us, and by us I mean for the software, it doesn't matter. But for your specific question, I'll pass it to Ellie.
Yes. you kind of explained, Diamantis. Thank you. The mechanism is developed in a way that can support the integration with any evaluator. For example, it can be our validator, our FAIR validator in OpenAir. It can be another FAIR assessment tool from another provider. It doesn't matter. We can configure it in Argos and use it for the specific tenant, for example. Because right, Diamantis, we can use as we saw the deposits. Can be different tenant per tenant. The same can be done with a FAIR assessment tool that you want to use and get a FAIR score while doing while working on the plan. And the same with any other types of indicators and metrics that you want to attach to a plan. So, for example, a few examples you already gave, but we can also evaluate the completeness of the DMP or even the adherence to a rubric. So, evaluating the DMP and how well it does compared to the rubric that is set by the institution or the funder. So many things are possible. Yeah.
So what I suppose that each version of the DMP will have a different version also of this input of the validators, a different score or whatever that will be.
Yes,
Yes.
you can evaluate. It's kind of configurable. So based on the workflow functionality that I said before, you can configure at which stage of the DMP the evaluation is happening. It could happen on any stage, but it's kind of organization policy to decide where you evaluate the plan. And then we use the evaluator, the registered evaluator plugins. We take the score for each plugin. As I said, each score could mean a different thing. And then we store it and we present it to the plan. And we say that we evaluated the plan using these 3 evaluators, and the score and the details for each evaluator is the following.
Yes, we do not dictate which service is going to be used or which evaluator.
Okay, thank you.
But that was a nice question. Thanks, Tassos. Any other questions? If not, we are on time. That doesn't happen very frequently. Diamantis, thank you so much. I know it's a difficult day for you, but thank you so much for joining us. I think it was very useful and very helpful to understand, some technical things. We will make this available, right, Marilee, the recordings and everything on our website.
Yes, of course.
And we'll see each other next month earlier than usual. It's not the last Wednesday because we will all be hopefully with our families, eating and drinking and relaxing. But yeah, we will see each other on the indicated date for December with a special call.
Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Diamadi and Ellie for having you here, and see you all next month, and we will inform you about the change of date through an email. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you too.